So now this is function part 2. So now under the topic functions, we also have to look at inverse functions. Now, what are inverse functions? Now, inverse functions, let's say these functions that you will find in the exam, that will be in this type of format. Say f inverse. You see? So now to be a function inverse of two conditions. So now we're going to look at the conditions that we might have. You could have the function inverse, because this -1 represents inverse of the function f. So where f represents the function, okay? So it could be function inverse of, let's say, x, or just function inverse of a number. So now I want us to look at how we can find such functions. So now let's look at how to find, for instance, let's say the function inverse of x. How to find the function inverse of x. So now how to find the function inverse of x, say during the exam they would say where there is a term function, they might put a variable which is simply just a letter. Could say f inverse of x, could also say h inverse of x, g inverse of x, whatever letter they wish to put. They can even say a inverse of x. You see, these are the type of notations you should expect. With that said, let's look at examples. All right, so let's say you've been given that the functions f and g are defined as f of x being equal to 4x minus 1, and simply g of x being equal to, let's say, -3x. Alright, so now you forgive my handwriting. I'm trying as best as I can be to write neatly. Alright, they might say find, let's say f inverse of x. Then b, they might say find g inverse of x. So now let's read the entire question. The functions f and g are defined as f of x is equal to 4x minus 1 and g of x is equal to -3x. So we have then been asked to find f inverse part, remember, of x, and b, g, remember the inverse part of x. Alright, so now let's find the solution to our examples. Alright, solutions. Alright, for the first part, which is here, A, we have been asked to find f inverse of x. So now, how to really find f inverse of x? The first thing you have to bear in mind is that you literally have to look for a function that is beginning with the letter of f. Now, in the entire question, there is only one function that is having the letter of f. So if we look correctly, we will find that we have g of x, but we're looking for f inverse of x. So we cannot get g of x. So we're going to look for the other function of f, which is this one, f of x. So now f of x is equal to 4x minus 1. So we get this function. So f of x is a function we get is equal to 4x minus 1. Because we're looking for the inverse of the f function. You see? So we're saying f inverse of x. So to find the inverse of the f function, we will let the function of x, which is f of x, be equal to any letter of our choice. In most cases, they use y, so you can also use y. So we would say y. So we let this function, which we are looking for the inverse of it, to be equal to what? Y. Remember the first step, we look for the function beginning with the letter of f. then you rewrite it like I have done as f of x is equal to 4x minus 1. Then you let f of x be equal to any letter of your choice. In most cases, they mostly love using y. Then once we do that, you'll be having y is equal to 4x minus 1. From there, we simply have to look for the value of x, where we simply just make x a subject of the formula. To make it easy for us to understand, we just simply flip the equation. Flipping the equation simply means that this will simply appear on this part and this will appear on the other part, where you'll be having 4x minus 1 being equal to what? Y. Be mindful that nothing crosses the equal sign. We just simply flip the equation so we can easily understand it. So now, with the flipped version, let's find the value of x. So to find the value of x, we have to isolate this x value by causing the negative 1 here to cross the equal sign. So if it crosses the equal sign, remember that anything that crosses the equal sign has to change its sign from negative to positive and from positive to negative. So you'll be having 4x here being equal to y, and if the negative 1 crosses, you'll be having a plus 1. Now here you have 4x being equal to y plus 1. Now, are we really looking for 4x? No, we're trying to make x a subject of the formula and not 4x. So we simply have to divide both sides of the equation by the number that is with x. So we say by 4, when this side, by 4. So if you divide 4 by 4, the 4 would disappear. See? By 4. It's like by 4. Alright, so you'll be having x being equal to y plus 1 over 4. But is this our final answer? Not really. Remember, we were asked to find f inverse of x. So we simply say, therefore, f inverse of x is then equal to, remember, here where there is y, you now have to substitute by putting x, then say plus 1, then over what? 4. And this is the inverse of this function here. Okay? Alright, let's move on. Now to solve for b is the one that is saying that we have to find g inverse of x. So remember, to find g inverse of x, we have to get the g of x function. Alright. So now let's find g inverse of x. So to find g inverse of x, we simply have to look for the function beginning with the letter of what? G. You're right, people. And that function is simply g of x being equal to what? We don't really have to get it from our mind. We go back to the question. The question will literally give us the answers. We look at the question, and g of x is equal to negative 3x. So you say g of x is equal to negative 3x, like that. Now, like we did earlier on, we simply have to let this function, which is g of x, be equal to any letter of our choice. Y. You see? So now this entire thing will now be y being equal to negative 3x. So now to simply make x a subject of formula, we simply flip the equation. So say negative 3x being equal to y. Then we divide both sides by the number that is with x, so I can remain with x, divided by negative 3, divided by negative 3. So negative 3 comes out with that, and you'll be having x being equal to y over negative 3. Now, others might just end here and come out of the exam room screaming, no, I've managed, when they have not really managed. You're not looking for x. Be mindful of that. You're looking for the inverse of g function. So g inverse of x, that's why we said, therefore, g inverse of x is now going to be equal to, where there is y, you now put x over, now at the bottom you have a negative 3, like that. And this is the final answer, you see? Alright, let's try and look at example number 2 so we can quickly understand how these things can be brought. So let's say that it is given that, let's say it's given that f of x is equal to 2x plus 4 over 5. Alright, just pardon the noise a bit. I think my grandmother is disturbing me. Alright, so now it's given that f of x is equal to 2x plus 5. Then let's say you've been asked to find f inverse of x. Alright, so to find f inverse of x, we simply have to do the same thing that we did for the previous one. So it's a solutions. So to find f inverse of x, we simply look for the function starting with the letter of f, where we say f of x is equal to, look at what we have here, we have f of x is equal to 2x plus 4 over 5. So we say 2x plus 4 over 5. Then what do? We will let this guy, so we say let f of x be equal to any letter of our choice, but in most cases we pick y. So now this whole entire thing is now y being equal to 2x plus 4 over 5. So now y being equal to 2x plus 4 over y is not really our final answer. So we simply just have to balance out this fraction by saying over 1 on the y's part, then cross multiplying. You don't really have to show it that you're cross multiplying by doing that, not really. It means you've cancelled the question. So now let's cross multiply in your mind. So I say 1 by 2x plus 4 is equal to 5 times y. Alright, so 1 times everything in this bracket, so 1 times 2x is 2x, 1 times 4, simply 4, being equal to 5 times y is 5y. So we're having 2x plus 4 being equal to 5y. So to make x subject of formula, we simply cause the number that's just supposed to 4 to cross the equal sign. And if it does cross, you'll be having this. I mean 2x being equal to, remember, if anything crosses the equal sign, its sign has to change from positive to negative, from negative to positive. So we have 5y minus 4. You see? So now 2x cannot really be equal to 5y minus 4. So what we simply have to do is to divide both sides by 2. Divided by 2, divided by 2, 2 into 2. You have x being equal to 5y minus 4 over 2. Now this is not what we're looking for, okay? So we say therefore we're looking for f inverse of x. So we say where there is y, we put x. So we say 5x minus 4 over 2. It's our final answer. Alright, so now I really wanted us to look at a lot of parts, but we won't really look at a lot of parts. Alright, so what to do is quite simple. We'll look at the next part where you find they say let's find f inverse of a number. Okay, where they say f inverse of, let's say, 4. That's what we're going to be looking at in our next video, so watch out for that video. Remember, my name is Mr. Hussein, and it was very nice teaching you this part of functions. Remember to subscribe and like our YouTube channel for more videos. Alright, if you really want to ask questions and you have queries, you can contact us via WhatsApp on this line 0761754349. Alright, we love you and God loves you. Stay blessed.